Hello Wolfpack. I want to talk about Ethereum and the altcoin market cap, and the reason why I'm not actually too confident on Ethereum for the immediate next couple of weeks. Now, I think that for the next week, maybe the next week, right, we should be okay on Ethereum, should be okay to keep tracking higher, but you know, there's a lot of evidence that suggests that towards the end of November and the start of December, Ethereum will be correcting. And you can see that, you know, you don't have to be a TA expert to realize this upwards trend is completely unsustainable. I mean, look, we've just gone upwards, like just straight upwards since September, and then you still get people saying we're in a bear market. But that's besides the point. The point is it's unsustainable, right? You can't do that forever. And the chances of us just keep going upwards and then blowing off top and going even more upwards are just completely minuscule, right? That's just not going to happen. We need to correct at some point. That's what I'm trying to get through in this video. We need to correct at some point because this is not healthy, right? It's actually not healthy, and what it's leading to is the massive, high funding rates we're seeing, the massive amounts of longs in the market that we're seeing as well, which is why we're shaking out so often, and we need to correct, and we're probably going to do that towards the end of this month, right? And that's what this video is about. So let's get into it, right? We had this upwards channel. We broke to the upside, as you do in an upwards channel when you move upwards into it. And now we've just been moving upwards, right, for, almost 2 months. And we have this MACD, which is interesting to see, right? We have a bit of a rounding out on the MACD. We're yet to see a bearish MACD cross, which is another interesting thing, right? We can see we got close to a cross 1, 2, 3, 4 separate times, and now we're rounding out completely. And it looks like we might be seeing that MACD cross, pretty shortly, within the next week or so, or maybe the next 2 weeks. I think that, we need to have a second leg up on Bitcoin and the market, and then we'll have that wave 2 correction that a lot of people have been talking about on Twitter, which is basically the last correction we see in a bull market. It happens, in mid to late November. It's very, very quick. It happens very quickly, but it refreshes all of the indicators. And what we need to be seeing on Ethereum is this MACD, fully reset. We need to see it come down at least to here, reset, and then we can head up for a parabolic move and just absolutely, quote unquote moon from there. So, it's pretty clear that we need to have a bit of a reset. And the cyclical theory, I'm not just saying this, baselessly. The cyclical theory does suggest that, right? What do we see in a previous cycle? Well, we saw this W pattern, and we've gone over this a lot of times, right? So basically, Ethereum's having the same structure as it did in 2017. Literally, you can see it's just a W pattern with the left side of a W much bigger, and all the dates play out perfectly, and they both broke through this line at around the same time. But what we did see in the last cycle is you can see we came up above this blue line, and we corrected for about 2 weeks. Not very big corrections at all, but enough to reset some of the indicators, right? You'll notice that if we bring up the MACD, that would have reset the MACD quite substantially. You can't actually see it here on the weekly chart. If you went to the daily chart, you could see the MACD would have reset quite substantially. In fact, let's do that right now. We'll go back, we'll go back to 2017, and we'll see, yep, here we go. We had a bit of a correction. It wasn't really much of a correction, but it was definitely a break, because we had this massive upwards trend, right, going on for a couple of months, and then we had a downwards channel, right, and we had a bit of a reset on the MACD. If you zoomed up, you can see this is actually much more substantial than you would think. Yeah, we had a reset, we came in for a fresh MACD cross, and then we made a move to the upside. Obviously, we had some stagnation as Bitcoin topped out as well, and then after Bitcoin tops out, we moved up to the upside. So we would be expecting something similar to that, and the dates do line up, right? When did we see the stagnation on November 27th? Well, 2017. We came in and we started the kind of slow downwards channel that lasted for 2 weeks in late November, right? The 27th of November. Right now, it's the 12th of November, right? And as I said, I think we're going to have one more leg up, right? And we can see that we've moved above this blue line, and then we had the correction shortly after. We've just moved above the blue line about 3 weeks ago, and we'll be correcting shortly after, so the end of this month. Most likely, and it could even happen earlier or later. We don't really have much sample data for it, so it could be happening right now. But the point of the matter is, according to the last cycle, the end of this month, we'll have a bit of a correction just to reset everything, get everything ready to go. And you can see that in terms of RSI. When did we see this correction on the RSI? Well, we had a very similar structure, right? We had a peak out in May, right? We had a peak out in May on the RSI. We had a peak out in May on the RSI here as well. And then we saw, a bit of an upwards trend when we broke around 70. Look, we broke around 70 and we got to about 75 and then, or 71 or 2, and then we corrected, right? And what are we doing now? Well, we're currently at 70, right? So it seems to me that we're very close to the same point where we should be correcting. So I guess what this video is, and it's not really that technical, you will notice that like a lot of my videos have a lot of evidence supporting it. There's not too much here, but you can't have too much evidence when it comes to Ethereum. Ethereum because we've only had one cycle previously, but what we can say is this structure looks the same. You also notice on Ethereum, and all the people are pointing this out, let's just clear this up because it is something that's concerning me. But a lot of people are pointing out that we're seeing a bearish divergence on the weekly chart, right? A long-term bearish divergence has been playing out since December 2020, so very, very long-term. The same thing happened in the last cycle, right? We saw one from around, June 2017, and then we topped out in January 2018. So, it's not uncommon to see these bearish divergences on Ethereum. Yes, I would say this one is more prominent, but I don't think that takes away from the cyclical theory. I think the cyclical theory is way more important than a random bearish divergence. I just wanted to say that. So, look, that's kind of the point of the video is that be cautious. I think we are going to be seeing a, not necessarily a correction, it could be a correction, but at least some extensive consolidation for a couple of weeks on Ethereum at some point, possibly late this month or early December, my personal opinion, right? It's pretty clear, as I said, it's pretty clear that this upwards trend we're seeing right now is just unsustainable. Like, what are people expecting to happen? Does this really look like it will happen to you? Let's draw it out. All right, we continue going up, and then Bitcoin tops out, and then December happens, and then we go parabolic. That doesn't look very natural to me at all, right? I'd expect something like this, a bit of a dip down, and then a parabolic move, right? Of course. So the altcoin market cap, very similar situation here, and we can see what's going on here. We can see that we have a very similar MACD as Ethereum does have a very similar MACD situation where we're just heading upwards endlessly, and we've seen almost across every single time. We've broken all-time highs on the altcoin market cap, and we're continuing heading to the upside. But it's not uncommon for us to see these large upwards trends, right? Because the market does grow like this. We've seen large upwards trends multiple times in history on the altcoin market cap. But notice how every single time we see an extensive upwards trend, we do have a bit of a dip for like a week or two, right? Every time, dip for a week or two, right? Came upwards, dip for a week or two. We're yet to see that dip, and we need to see one more dip before the market top. Same thing happened in 2017, right? We can go back to it right now, the last cycle, and we can see that, well, let's get rid of this. We had these upwards trends, but even in 2017, even when the market cap was much lower, upwards trend, and then, we dipped a little bit here. Upwards trend, we had a small, consolidation period. Upwards trend, we had a dip for a couple weeks there, and then we topped out, right? And notice this dip came, we had one here actually, which lines up closer to the Ethereum date, which was at the end of November, start of December. We stagnated a little bit, and then we had one more dip here as Bitcoin topped out, but I don't think we're going to see that in this cycle, potentially. It won't be too prominent, at least. So I guess the point of this video, and again, it's not as fact-based as some of my videos, and it sounds a bit like speculation, but the whole thing I wanted to highlight is that, Ethereum looks unhealthy. We're probably going to need to have a correction or consolidation period towards the end of November and December. Expect it, right? And don't get scared by it, because I like to point out things like this because, you'll notice that I think early October, I pointed out that, hey, in early November, late October, we're going to be seeing a Bitcoin correction. Don't be scared by it. And that it made people become a lot less panicked when it did happen. So, what I would think is the most logical occurrence, in the next month or so in the market is we go up, we might go down a little bit on Bitcoin, but that's actually, if you'll see my recent Twitter posts, I'm not actually completely decided on what's going to happen there, but the point of the matter is we're going to be seeing a second wave peak, right? So we're going to go up very sharply this month in November, my personal opinion, and then after that sharp move to the upside, we're going to have to correct towards the start of December, right? A small, probably 1 to 2 week correction or consolidation period, and then we'll see the final blow off top for both Bitcoin and then Ethereum after Bitcoin. So this is it, guys. We're on pretty much the final stretch here, almost. We've got one more little road bump to get over, speed bump to get over, and then from there on out, it's just going to be basically upwards, with the exception of maybe a couple of daily candles to throw people off and shake out the leverage. So we're looking good. Everything's still on track. Keeping an eye on Bitcoin, keeping an eye on Ethereum, and we're ready to go. I'll keep you guys updated. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.